The first thing I'm going to examine in this analysis is the opening scene, laying our setting for the film. It starts off with a misty morning shot of the skyline. This gradually translates while the narrator tells the story to a misty, unclear vision of our sun, an homage to the two star-crossed lovers and their naivety and innocence. We then zoom into the city streets, which, as we see, are also misty, until we see some horse-drawn carriages peering through the fog. As the narrator finishes the story, the fog clears in such a way that our mystery disappears while listening to the narrator. The fog is also representative of the naivety of the two star-crossed lovers as well. The carriages leaving the shadows and entering the light also represents something taboo or forbidden coming to light. We will see that play out across the scene in the entire movie.
When we are first introduced to the Capulets at 1 minute 22 seconds into the film, we get a waist-down mid-shot of their legs, 3 men to be exact. We can determine this by the obvious bulge at their waist. This plays into not only showing the promiscuity of these individuals, but foreshadows the lust and promiscuity that would be a constant theme throughout the film. Also, we see how they stand out from the bleak background inhibited by gray sand, dirty baskets, and peasants sporting dark brown leggings. The fiery red and yellow of their outfits tells the audience that they stand out for a reason, and that the way they carry themselves comfortably indicates power or higher standing than those others in their environment. The shot then continues to follow the 3 men still standing from the waist down as they move from the far left of the screen to now covering the majority as they kick a dog out of their way. This scene not only shows more of their stature and power, but the violence that they are capable of, but don't take seriously, possibly foreshadowing the fight between Tybalt and Mercutio. The remainder of the scene now pans up so we can see the men from the waist up, showing us that one is eating a large piece of watermelon, indicating wealth. The only thing that halts their movement is the sight of the Montagues at 1 minute 38 seconds into the film. This halt in movement allows us to understand the friction between the families immediately.
This still is the first time the film presents us with a visual representation of the hostility between the Capulets and the Montagues. The lighting is bright in the center with shadows around the edges, which creates a sense of impending doom. The costuming has the Capulets in bright reds and yellows, alluding to their being the brash, antagonistic house, while the Montagues are dressed in muted greens and blues, which makes them appear calmer and more level-headed. As far as characterization goes, if you look at Abram's face, he's offended at this biting the thumb display, which at the time was the equivalent of flipping someone the bird. While the Montagues give off the vibe that they're the level-headed house, this expression makes it apparent that the Capulets do have a way of getting under their skin. The way this shot is framed is important too, because it keeps some of the marketplace and other people in view, which helps define the fact that this is a very public feud, while at the same time keeping the majority of the audience's attention on the feud itself. The detail in this shot is crucial in establishing why Romeo and Juliet's love is forbidden later on in the film.
Do you bite your thumb at us, sir?
I do bite my thumb, sir.
Do you bite your...
Draw, if you be men! Remember the squashing blow!
Right at the beginning of this clip, we see a Montague push a Capulet into a normal town folks' wares, which gets the town people involved in the fight they were previously trying to avoid. This is when we see the camera start rapidly jumping around from conflict to conflict, swinging around wildly to capture the fight in fast, close shots. This almost first-person shot helps to establish the chaos in the scene. The camera puts the audience in the mob and makes them believe they're being shoved around in the crowd as their perspective is being pushed and pulled with the flow of the actors moving around the frame. There isn't any music in this clip, but to supplement that, there's constant crowd noise that evokes chaos more than discordant or intense music would.
Tidy home, fragment.
Someone rang a bell. It's hard to tell if they were a Montague, a Capulet, or a townsperson, but we do know that the bell is a signal of a fight. So then we go to see more Capulets are getting weapons to fight. It's chaotic. They're all rushing and shoving each other. With their bright colors, it almost looks like a fire that's spreading through the armory. The colors and action tells us about the Capulets and how passionate they are. We then see that mirrored in Juliet later on with her passion towards Romeo. And then it goes to a shot of the people in the corridor. They start in the only spot of light in the corridor, and they move through it to the shadows. They're staying in the path and not going outside the columns. This tells me that the path they're on is only going to lead to tragedy, as it is leading them right into the shadows, and that none of them are going to question the path they are taking.